This is a New York Muscle Radio Network production.
Hey there, guys. You're listening to the Bikini and Barbell Show, the #1 resource for bikini-ready fit chicks.
What's up, ladies? Welcome to the Bikini and Barbell Show, episode number 12, brought to you by the New York Muscle Radio Network. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the benefits of bulking up as a woman and how to do it the proper way. So don't be scared when you hear the word bulking, because we got your backs. This is your host, Laura Bevilacqua, and with me today I have Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Laura? Pete, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good, man. I'm here for the episode that almost wasn't. I think this is a special edition. It was a last minute choice of a topic, but I think it's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of last minute, but I think this is a good one, because whenever like women hear that word, they get like scared and don't want to do it.
Including you. So this is why it's perfect for you, because I think it's coming around time for you to. You're done, I think, maximizing your metabolism pretty much. I think it's time to move on to a bulk here. Your first successful one.
Yeah, and I've been trying to prevent it because summer's coming, so that's why I think today's episode will be good to explain.
Yeah, it's always a catch-22 with things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, especially as a girl, you know, you don't want to look big in a bikini or anything like that.
You know, what happens if you live in like a warm place year-round? That's got to be tough.
Yeah, right?
Because then you can never be out of shape. Pete, why you look so confused, man?
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about that for a second. As Laura is saying, everything about that is very true for women. When they hear bulking, it's almost like, oh no, it's a bad word. But anybody who's really involved in bodybuilding and fitness, like even guys, I know, Anthony, you could probably agree with this too. At some point, that word probably turned you off too whenever you got really lean, right? Like, you know, going from trying to get your leanest to then, okay, now it's time to bulk. It almost has like a negative association with that word.
Yeah, because when you make a whole bunch of gains when you're getting lean, you know, like you start feeling good, you look better, you know, you see changes every week, and then when it's like, all right, this is done, it's time to bulk now, it's like,
Right, but that's why you got to.
There goes all the progress.
Yeah, that's why you have to bulk properly, which we're going to get into in this episode. So I think once you have the right idea of how to go about bulking, that should ease some of that anxiety of going through a bulking phase. Because once you've done it over and over again, then there's less of a negative association with bulking. Because, you know, okay, I could bulk properly and not get fat. So that's the way to do it.
Yeah, when I think of bulk to look like the Hulk. But I guess that's a good thing, because you get stronger during a bulk, right?
Yeah, well, that's definitely one of the major reasons to do it. I mean, even for women too, because that's where you're going to build a significant amount of muscle and actually change your physique. So you got to go through periods of time where you might not be your leanest, but it's all part of the process, and it's definitely an important part for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. You know what's so funny is, like, I always feel like whenever I bulk up, I'm like, all right, this is when the progress is going to come. And then when I'm dieting, see, I get the opposite kind of feels, because then when it's like dieting time, it's like, I'm not going to make any more progress.
Yeah.
But it's not that you're not going to make any more progress improving, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way to put it too, but you know what I mean.
Right.
You get my point. Like, you're not making any more muscle gain progress, because usually when you're in a caloric surplus, you're not going to gain any muscle. Caloric deficit, you're not really going to gain any muscle. Even though we have done that successfully, it just doesn't come on the same way as it does when you're bulking up or in a caloric surplus.
Yeah, it's going to be a much slower rate.
Are you guys happier during a bulk?
Definitely.
Yeah, you know, it depends though. Definitely, as a general answer, bulking always going to be happier, but how aggressive you have to get with it, eventually it could become more work than a dieting phase. But that's probably not something women are going to suffer from. But yeah, I know from experience, most women will definitely report that they're happier not dieting. I think most people will say that.
Yeah, so I guess, Pete, this episode we're basically going to convince Laura why she should be bulking. Why she should go through her first real bulk.
Yeah.
Because pretty much before this, you didn't really bulk. You just kind of dieted a little, then whatever, then dieted a little, then whatever.
Yeah, it was really never a bulk.
You successfully dieted down. You successfully reverse dieted. Like, where are your calories up to now?
1365.
It's kind of low still.
Yeah, it's still pretty low.
Yeah, I'm
What the hell
still
you been
at.
doing? You haven't been reversing? You've been caught up doing the same thing you've always been doing, huh? Yeah, we caught you red-handed on the podcast. Guilty as charged.
Well,
What happened? You had a couple of days when you went off, and then you went back low, and you dropped your calories.
no, I've always been at that since my meat has finished. Since the last you gave me. So
So you didn't raise them up anymore? Why
I
not?
haven't touched anything.
Why?
Because as a girl, I get worried to raise things without.
Yeah, but then
coach
do
or anything.
you have days where you eat and don't track anything?
There's a meal here and there that I wouldn't track.
See, but this is, and I'm calling you out in here because it's a good learning thing for you, and it's good for everyone listening to this too, because everyone's guilty of this. You know, especially
absolutely.
women. This is something that all women are guilty of. So it's good when they hear it, and you can't do that because then right now you're in a place of not making any progress.
Yeah.
Nutrition wise and just body composition wise, you're not making any progress. You're stagnant. You're in the same thing. I bet you nothing has changed with your physique. Actually, you probably added a little bit of body fat, right?
It varies.
You're being a little harsh there, man.
No, but this is what happens, man. Because listen, I've tried this before.
No, I know.
You act like you haven't either, man. See,
Yeah.
look, here he is. You always got to make me look like the bad guy.
Hey, you are, man.
I'm the
I can
Dark
tell.
Knight.
I'll tell you. I'm
I'm
not
the Dark
afraid to
Knight.
tell you. So since my meat, it was 14, and now it's 16.
Yeah, so exactly. You basically are in a stage right now where you make no progress, and that's so funny that happens because it's so consistent. Like it happens with me too. If I try to stay in a deficit for too long, that happens. If I try to stay in a surplus at the same calories, that still happens. So I feel like because your metabolism is never static, it's never just doing one thing. It's either speeding up or slowing down. So I think you always need to kind of change things. That's why I think it's good to kind of shift between diet, bulk.
Yeah, there's a point of diminishing returns with both. So yeah, you definitely have to transition between the two at the right amount of time. So if you were on a pretty long diet phase, right, for the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving into the bulk, then you definitely want to be progressive with the calories so you're pretty much done reverse dieting. Now you still want to be progressive, but obviously at a slower rate than you were when you reverse dieting. But if you keep yourself stagnant, then you're not really going to see those changes, at least over the long haul. So. Definitely if you start transitioning to more of a bulk right now, over the next couple of months is when you really see big changes in your physique. You'll get stronger. You'll be able to add a little bit more muscle too. And then next time you diet down, it's going to be even easier. So definitely should always be increasing those calories.
I feel like when you're stagnant like that and you don't change calories at all in either direction, that's whenever you have like those one or two meals that you don't track, that's when they just stick.
Yeah, they stick. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
2%. So that's probably the couple times you went to sushi and they just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that 2% was from the 2 meals that you ate that you
Yeah.
tracked.
Exactly.
Very well possible though. That's the scary thing, and most people are like, oh, I can't gain weight from one meal, but you really can, and it'll stick too. Like I said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is a bad example on my part because I haven't been changing any numbers because I haven't been keeping up with you, Anthony, because I'm so used to you asking and raising my calories or raising my carbs. So that's probably my fault, but I just didn't know, I'm learning on my own podcast. Well, that's embarrassing.
No, it's not. It's good because all women go through this. Definitely. I don't think you're the only one, and I'm just calling you out because you're guilty of it right now. But same way I call Pete out on that too.
But that just proves not to rely on anybody else, and you should just do it on your own, I guess.
Well, yeah, you can't just stay stagnant.
Yeah.
You always. So from here, I would definitely start raising the calories up slowly. Now you have to go reverse diet, so now you're just wasting more time. See, it's so funny how you could waste so much time doing this, thinking you're doing the right thing, and end up messing up.
Definitely.
Wasting time. Because now you have to reverse diet now. Your calories, I would say a good goal should be around 2,100. What do you think, Pete? Like a good,
long term. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see her over around 2,000 or up, and that's maxing out the bulk though, and that's not a place where she's going to be in for like an extended period of time, but some place to work up to, and then set herself up for maybe a small dieting phase, and then try to maintain, within 200 or 300 calories of that here and there. But yeah, definitely work. I mean, if you're at 1,300 now, you definitely have a lot of room to improve on that, and you could bring that up. It's just going to have to be slow and progressive over time. But what I'm curious, what are the actual macros at right now if the calories are at like 1,300? Are your carbs still low? Is it fats or both?
The fat is 25, carbs are 135, and protein is 150.
Yeah.
All women love to suffer, man. They just
Yeah,
love it. See,
you
it's
have
different
plenty
for
of
a
room
guy.
to bring those up. Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy, like, all right, so if a guy did a contest and finished the contest, it's like, all right, I'm done. And they just binge and they go
Yeah,
crazy and
yeah.
just start, all right, I'm bulking now. And this is the
Yeah.
difference between women because women just kind of always want to maintain that. But like I said, 1 or 2 meals here and there and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
It sticks on. I bet you if you start reverse dieting, slowly adding in the calories, week after week, slowly adding them up, I bet you'd probably lose that 2% that you put on for no reason.
Definitely. I'm curious now. What your calories like that, as far as your hunger, are you craving more? Like if you eat your calories for the day, and if you're maybe getting any cravings, are you craving more fat, or are you craving like more carbs? Like what do you feel like you're not eating enough of?
I find myself the fat doesn't bother me as much. I crave more of the carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still dieting.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you're low in calories and the carbs are still pretty low, your body's just going to be looking for carbs. The fat kind of the fat. You'll crave that when your metabolism's speeding up, but you might not be eating as much as you can be. But when you're low calorie, your body's just going to be looking for carbs all day. So that's always the first thing that you should try to bring up to a normal range. I mean, for you, a good goal to eventually get those up around 200, 220, something like that. That's a good maintenance amount, and then work from there. So that would be like the first goal, to try to slowly get them from where they are now up to there. And I think at that point your hunger will be pretty stable and your weight will probably stabilize too. You might fluctuate a little bit, but then from there, then you can really start to kind of milk the bulk, so to say.
I'm curious too because I seem to be a carb head. I can tolerate a lot of carbs. I can get in easily. I've gone upwards of to 600 grams of carbs a day with no issues at all. And I'm curious, and I guess this is a question for Austin, our New York Muscle Radio doctor. So Austin, if you're listening, head on over to the New York Muscle Radio group and answer this question for me. Since me and Laura are related, obviously, will she be able to handle carbs as easy as me? I guess genetically, does that make sense? Is that like a making sense question? I'm just curious if she would be able to be a carb, because I've heard women get up to 300 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she would be able to get them up that high, based on the way I'm able to. If you can make that guess, I know everyone's different, obviously.
I would make that guess and say, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to speak from a doctor's point of view, but just based on observation, the genetic
so you
thing.
mean the shirt that you have that says you're a doctor means you're not a doctor? Trust me, I'm a doctor.
I don't have that shirt. But, just based on observation, the genetic thing, I don't honestly think that would make a difference just because she's your sister. But based on her genetics, I would say, just by the way she responds to dieting based on those numbers, I'm going to assume that she could probably get them pretty high. But I don't think that has anything to do with her being your sister. She very well could have the exact opposite effect. Me and my brother probably don't tolerate macros the same way, if I had to guess. I have no idea what he eats.
Yeah, but that's because your brother's not as active as you, though.
Yeah, but
You can't make that assumption because your doctor's not.
Genetically, though, we never had anything in common. Like almost nothing. It's almost like there's no relationship between me and him. Although,
like the movie Twins.
Yeah, it's very odd. But I'm saying that could vary, not just because you're related. It could be any reason. But I'm willing to bet, just based on the way Laura's body responds and what her body weight is and her macros and everything like that, and the fact that she puts on strength really easily, and she seems to be more leaning towards ecto-meso. She could probably tolerate a decent amount of carbs and stay lean.
Yeah.
The only way you really know is going through it, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy to think as a woman, like when you say 200 to 300 carbs a day, it's like, wow, I'm so used to having just like 130. Right. So it's scary to even think to have that much carbs.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if you go about the reverse and the slow bulk the right way and you add those carbs in slowly, you can get up to 200 and arguably maintain your weight right now. That'll take a little while, but yeah, you could get yourself up to those without putting any body fat on. That's if you do it properly. Now, if you were to go right now from where you're at to 200, you might lay down a little bit of body fat, and that's something you want to avoid.
Yeah. That's why I think this episode is good, because I'll be learning myself also.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So today's Bikini and Barbell quote of the day is from Emma Watson, and I chose her because Beauty and the Beast just came out, and she played Belle. Did you guys see that, by the way?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't like it.
What?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was. I didn't walk away from it wowed. I thought the best character was the Beast. I thought he was the best character. I thought it was casted poorly, and I didn't think she did a good job as Belle.
I didn't think I was gonna like her as Belle because I'm like I'm not really a fan of her anyway. But once I started seeing her like play Belle, I was like, all right, she's all right. But I see what you're saying. But I did like it, so I can't say.
Pete's so confused. He's like, what movie is this?
True story. True story. I've never seen Beauty and the Beast in my life.
What?
Not even
man.
the original one. Just never. So I have no comment. I can't say anything about it.
Do you know what it is?
Have I ever been to Disneyland?
Yeah, Disney World, Disneyland.
Yeah, when I was 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never been. As a kid, I was never there. First time I went there, I was 25 or maybe 24.
Who'd you go
Oh,
with?
actually, wait. Yeah, wait. I want to hear this story. Who'd you go with?
No, it's funny because I have which one is the one in Florida? That's Disney World or Land?
Yeah, World.
I have cousins that live in Florida, and I went to visit them with my family. What was it? I guess it was like 3 years ago at this point. I was either 24 or 25, and it was the first family vacation I'd actually been on with my entire family since I was maybe like 14 or 13 or something like that. And so we stayed in Florida, and they live right by Disney over there. And my cousin has two daughters who were about, what were they, 5 and 7 at the time, and so we all went to Disney. That was the first time I was there.
Do you want to laugh, man? You beat me there because the last time the first time I went was 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't really get the real appreciation of seeing it as a kid, but I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me.
Pete's walking around. Why are all these people in tights?
I don't know, man. The kids liked it though.
Do you know the storyline of Beauty and the Beast though?
Not really, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I mean, I'm curious. What is it?
You gotta watch the movie.
I don't know. Yeah, it would be. I think that might be weirder watching Beauty and the Beast when I'm 27 than going to Disney at 25. But who knows?
Not if you have a girl with you, man. I'm sure that's a good pickup line somewhere you could use.
I don't know, man. I gotta try. I gotta test it out and let you know if it works.
Yeah, you could take a girl to the movies right now because in the movies and you can watch the movie.
Oh, is it? I don't even like going to the movies, man. To be honest with you.
Oh, why not?
I'll put it on what's that called? I'd rather
the Fire Stick.
Yeah, I'd rather just put it on a Fire Stick at home.
Yeah, but then you don't end up watching the movie. I know you dog.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, the quote.
Yeah, he goes.
The quote says, "I don't want other people to decide who I am. I want to decide that for myself."
Love it. So true. And actually, I'm going to relate it to the podcast quick because so many people have criticized, I guess me in particular, about how I talk. I don't know why I get so much hate, and the other clown doesn't get any hate, but I get so much hate from people. And it's so true. I don't really care what anyone says. I'm the one who decides what I say. So I agree with that quote 100%.
It's so true. Like people are going to talk regardless. If you're good or bad, they talk regardless. So you have to just decide for yourself who you want to be.
Yeah. And the fact is, no matter what, even if you put out the best content or whatever you put out there online or in person, there's always going to be people that aren't going to like it. Even if 99% of the people like you, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you because not everybody has the same opinion. So you can't make everybody happy. So as long as you do what you feel is the right thing to do or what you like to do and you make yourself happy, then you're pleasing the right people. And if other people don't like it, that's their problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If people
I don't want to cut anyone off. I get in trouble for that too.
If people are talking bad about you, then that means that you obviously they still care if they have something to say bad about you.
True. Yeah.
So
the way I look at it is if I can put my head on my pillow at night and I'm happy with what I did in my day, that's all that matters. Because I'm the only one who can make myself happy. I can't do anything for anyone to make anyone else happy. I'll be miserable. So if I curb myself for this podcast, it wouldn't be good. I'd be Pete and it wouldn't be nice. I can't have.
Hey, listen, I put my head on my pillow every night, man, and I sleep just fine.
Yeah.
I would never think people say anything negative about you because you don't show it in your personality at all.
I really don't. I genuinely don't care.
You would never think anything was wrong,
Yeah, Pete. I guess I could say I'm one of those people. I was bullied as a kid. I was bullied on the podcast.
Hey, man, this guy's been bullied his whole life. Nobody leaves him alone.
Yeah, right.
So let's move on to the trending fitness topic of today is wearable technology. You guys have like Fitbit or Apple Watch, anything like that?
I have an Apple Watch, and I don't use it for fitness. I remember Nike had one. What the hell is that thing called, Laura? Remember the Nike ones?
The Fuel Band.
I actually like that thing. I like that thing. I thought it was a cool accessory. And that's the only reason why I wore it, for the cool accessory. I use it occasionally, but not enough to actually get anything measurable from it. I mean, my Apple Watch tells me how many steps I do in a day, but I don't care about all that.
They're
But
saying
it's good.
that-
But I do think it's good for most people.
I don't know. I don't like Fitbits, man. To be
I feel
honest
like
with
it's not accurate
you.
for some reason.
Definitely not.
It's not accurate, and it gives people a false sense of accomplishment, because when they see how many steps they walked in a day, they think that justifies them going to eat whatever they want or whatever it is.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not the goal of it, though. The
Right.
goal is to be able to push yourself. So
No, I know.
Today your Fitbit says you walked 5,000 steps. What you're supposed to do is, okay, tomorrow I'm supposed to walk more than that. Like, that's the goal of it. You're not supposed
to, but that's not how people use it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Today I
problem.
walked an extra 1,000 steps. Let me
Right.
eat this cheeseburger.
Yeah. But the people are saying that people are buying them for holidays, birthdays, more gifts now. So it's like a huge thing of wearable technology.
I think it's a fashion trend, definitely. I mean, some of them are cool. Like I said, I used to love my my Fuel Band because it gave me I used it as a watch, really, and it was just cool looking, and I liked the way it looked. And then when that went out, I had the Apple Watch. I love my Apple Watch. It has multiple functions, so that's the only reason why I use it. The fitness part of it, though, I mean, the one cool thing about the Apple Watch, you could program in there. So let's say I was going to do cardio, whatever I was going to do, and I wanted to track calories burned. And that's usually what we talk about in this podcast, tracking the calories burned per session. That's the more accurate way to do it. I could literally just type it in my watch, okay, I want to burn 400 calories, and my watch will tell me when I've burned 400 calories. That's the only cool thing. I've yet to use that, though, but it's an option that I have. I haven't done cardio in 2 years, more, so...
You don't miss it at all?
Some days, I'm not going to lie, some days I'm like, I feel like doing a little cardio. And that's how I know that I probably should end up doing it when you miss it.
Yeah. Pete, you miss cardio?
Not at all. No. I don't really have much else to say about that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I probably haven't done cardio in about 2 years too, because me and Anthony went through a dieting phase right around the same time. So I think the last time he did cardio was probably right around the last time I did. And like I always say, I use cardio as a tool, and if I don't need to use it, then I don't look forward to it, and I don't really have a reason for it. So, and I think that's another thing. It's a good point to bring up, because when we get into the bulking in a little bit, there's a time and place for everything, and with bulking, there's a time and place to use cardio and not to use cardio. So, if your goals are similar to mine or Anthony's right now, then the cardio is not really needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off,
It's
but
okay.
you don't have a Fitbit, do you? You have the Apple Watch, don't you?
I had the Apple Watch, yeah.
Do you
I
use it
like
for
it.
anything fitness? I'm curious.
only-
To use it.
I only use it for when I'm doing the Stairmaster, just to put in like how many calories I'm burning. But other than
Oh, so
that,
you use it for the feature I said before.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, moving on to the listener question of the day. So if you ladies have a question that you'd like us to answer, just submit it on our website at www.newyorkmuscleradio.com/listener question, or you can call it in at 508-687-2534. And you can also text in the question, right?
Yes.
So today's question is from Anja Hurley. I hope I said that right. And she says, my question is it possible for...
You always do that. Read the whole
I know,
question.
Okay. She goes, hi, it's Anja from Australia here. Laura, you are amazing. Thank you. My question is it possible for a 40-year-old woman to transform and maybe even compete in figure? Are figure competitions done in age groups? And can you advise on tummy skincare, as I have a few stretch marks on my abdomen after having 3 kids?
That's a good question, and I think that it's good. It's a good thing because I do think a lot of older people are getting out there and getting interested in competing. I mean, I've definitely at powerlifting meets lately, I've been seeing a lot of older people competing and doing well in master categories and stuff. So it's good to see that. I love to see that because as we age, it becomes even more important to exercise. Quick little story, One of my clients, his dad's 85 years old. 85 years old, guys. And he was in the Army or Marines, I forget what he was, way back when. And a habit he took away from that was doing sit-ups every day. So he would do 200 sit-ups every day. So recently he went for like an MRI test. So he would lie down in the thing, in the MRI, whatever, comes out of the MRI thing. And the guy comes out, the attendant comes out to help him up. And the guy just pops up. And he goes, wow, I've never seen someone your age be able to pop up like that. And he says, well, I do my sit-ups every day. And the truth of the matter is as soon as you stop working out, you lose it all. And that's usually you hear that story very commonly. Oh, that someone was active in their job. They had an active lifestyle. They were construction or this or that. And as soon as they retired, they started relaxing and they just got sick. And I just believe that's because they become so inactive. The more active you are as we get older, the more important it is. So I think it's a great thing that we're seeing all these older people competing and wanting to compete and get into it and change their bodies because it is truly inspirational. And so, yes, I think it is possible for a 40-year-old woman to transform and even compete in figure, bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever your goal is. As long as you set your mind to it, I think you can absolutely do it. You just make sure you have the right coach, and I think that you could actually do it. And, yes, figure competitions are done in age groups. So there's master categories which go by age. I believe.
Yeah. Do you know how? Yeah. Do you know how old? I'm curious.
Yeah, I believe it's like Masters 1 is like 40 to 49. And then 50 to 59, like they have a whole bunch of different categories. So I believe at Raw Nationals, not last year, the year before that, there was a guy in his 70s deadlifting. I have a picture on my Instagram, but yeah. So it's a good thing to see. And then she wants to know, Pete, you can take this question. Can you advise on tummy skin care as I have a few stretch marks on my abdomen after 3 kids?
Yeah, that depending on how severe that is, that's going to depend on what type of approach you're going to take to fix that. I mean, the biggest thing, honestly, a lot of people complain about loose skin, and a lot of times it's actually just excess body fat. I mean, obviously your stomach is going to stretch and you will have some loose skin, but a lot of that actually can be fixed just by simply losing some body fat. The only time you're really going to see excess skin like that is if you stretched it so much where you were carrying so much extra weight. And that's generally with only really overweight people. So a little bit of weight gain, it's possible that you might have a little bit of an issue, but you'll be surprised when you actually start to get leaner, how much that'll improve just by that. So I would focus on just fat loss and weight loss in general first, and you'll see that tighten up a lot. If you have some issues with it then you can look into some extra stuff. But I wouldn't start out with that because you're going to have to really lose that body fat for it to tighten up in the first place. So focus on that first.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Something like cracking the flexible dieting code is good. Or actually, even at this point, picking up getting a good coach, definitely something that I would recommend because a coach will cut down that learning curve. I mean, I feel like we could reference this. Business, we're trying to grow New York Muscle Radio Network as a business on its own, and we're going through all the trials and tribulations of trying to grow a business and making a lot of mistakes along the way, which is very common in anything you do. So how I'm relating this to fitness is if you were to try to learn this stuff on your own, you'd make a lot of mistakes and waste a lot of time. Hence, like Laura did earlier in this podcast, we talked about it. So, like in business, we're making a lot of these mistakes. Hypothetically, if there was someone that could, a business coach, and I'm not talking about one of these idiots on Instagram who says they're a business coach, entrepreneur, one of those morons, not them. But if there was a business coach that could help us, it would be worth it for us to invest in that because it cuts down that learning time. Because then the coach can tell us, okay, focus on this avenue and use this avenue, and that's what's going to get you to where you want to go. So it's the same thing hiring a coach for fitness. You cut down that learning curve. That's why I definitely highly recommend coaching on any avenue if you can. And again, make sure it's from a reputable source. Like I said, if I wanted to hire a business coach, I definitely wouldn't go look on Instagram.
Yeah, and I have to give her a lot of credit also because even wanting that to compete at her age, not saying it's a bad thing, but I think that's a great thing. Having 3 kids and wanting to transform into a competitive figure competitor, that's awesome.
Yeah, and remember, too, at 40, I'm pretty sure her kid, you can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure her kids are a little bit older, so it's probably a little bit easier than if they were younger. Again, you don't know how old her kids are, but it's just a good thing overall. So we applaud you all the way here from New York, all the way down to Australia. We hope you hear our applause.
Pete doesn't
Come on,
clap.
you piece of crap. Clap.
Come on, they didn't know that the third person didn't get the clap.
That's such a weak clap, man. How do you rest your head at night? Do you ever see Liar Liar? How do you sleep at night?
Yeah.
I love that scene when you scratched my car. That's such a great movie. It was on TV
It
the
is
other day.
a
I
great
love
movie,
that
man. Great movie.
It's funny. I was actually watching. My mother-in-law came by, and she goes, so we're watching, and she's there. She's like, I'm like, oh, I love him. I think he's hilarious. She goes, I hate him. He gets on my nerves. I'm like, really? How does Jim Carrey get on your nerves? He's like the best actor ever.
I don't know anybody who
See,
dislikes
it's supposed
him.
to show you nobody.
Yeah,
nobody. And funny enough, my mom hates Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think my mom hates Arnold
Hates
Schwarzenegger
everybody.
too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's probably because she
But my mom's-
probably had to watch you watching all his stupid movies when you were a kid. That's why.
No, not even that. She just said, oh, I hate him. I don't think he's funny at all. He's annoying. He annoys me, she tells me.
Yeah, any type of funny movie or funny character she hates. They annoy her.
Yeah, that's my mom's one downfall. She hates Arnold.
All right, ladies, we're going to take a quick beauty break and we'll be right back.
Looking to take your physique to the next level? Interested in working with the best coaches in the business? Hear what New York Muscle Radio clients are saying.
The best coaches I have ever had.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program. Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them.
I know now that I don't have to suffer eating low carb or low calorie. I've gained so much strength and metabolism, all while staying relatively lean, thanks to them. I would recommend them to anyone.
So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking.
Ready to join and take your physique to new levels? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com now.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean,
What can I do?
you gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious.
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
All right, ladies, we are back to episode number 12. Today we're going to talk about bulking and the proper way to do it. So first, let's start off by asking the question, what is bulking? And when to bulk?
So, Laura, now I want your definition of bulking, because that's obviously, you're the person we're trying to talk to in this podcast. So what's your definition of bulking? And be honest.
Okay. Eating more than you are used to, but getting stronger throughout it.
Okay, that was the Picatarian answer. Now say what's really on your mind.
Hey, listen, don't reference my name like that.
Nah, come on, man, because it's true. That was the safe answer. That was the Picatarian answer. Go ahead, Laura. Now say the truth.
Putting on pounds. Putting on weight.
Getting fat as fuck. Say it. Come on.
Well, I don't want to say it like that because it's not nice, but
But
it's true, though.
No, but it's really not though. You don't have to get fat.
No, it's not. But that's what people think. And
Yeah, that's
why
what
I
people
wanted to
think.
say
Yes,
that.
yes, that's what people think. Yes,
Because
that's
bulking
not the real
and
answer though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Traditionally, when you hear the word bulk, you think of like fat. You think of really like powerlifters almost, like fat
be
people that
careful
are.
of your words. People are really gonna hate you after this episode.
I really don't give a fuck. They can hit unsubscribe. They can stop listening. I really don't care. Doesn't matter to me if they listen or not.
Exactly.
They don't want to learn.
You think of a power lifter and you think, okay, they power lift because they want to eat a lot. which is not true, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's like the kind of look that I think that people think they're going to get. As soon as they start bulking up, they're going to get a big fat belly and big muscles.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish. I wish that was the case, because if you bulked up, like you were able to get that big, like those guys, I'm thinking like a real, powerlifter. You could get really big like those guys just eating in a caloric surplus. It's not always the case. Sometimes nothing happens and you have to keep eating. Bulking is not easy. A lot of people think that it's easy. Oh, I just eat more. Yeah, you wish. You wish. We could talk to Pete about that. He's in the height of his bulk right now. He wants to kill himself every time he has to eat.
I told you, I said it earlier, it becomes a point where the bulk is actually more work than it is to just cut. Because cutting, you just reduce some calories and you let your body burn body fat, and it does the job. There'll be a point in a bulk where you're hitting a wall and you just keep feeding your body and it doesn't respond, so you have to keep feeding it more. So you have to keep increasing the amount of work you have to do. So it could be the total opposite. It could be double the work as something like cutting. Yeah, I can relate.
So what is bulking then? What's the true definition of what is bulking? You want to take it? I'm asking you, I guess.
Yeah, so the true definition, so you're not necessarily going to get fat when you're bulking. The true definition is basically you're going to increase your calories. You want to increase them more than they're at now, to the point where you can slowly build your metabolism, put on muscle, and gain strength. So those are really the three things that are going to come with a proper bulk. If you do it properly, you'll see all those things and you won't have any additional or excess fat gain, which is the thing that people most associate with a bulk. And you could pretty much totally prevent it if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up the word bulk, and it says be or seem to be of great size or importance.
See, that's what I mean. That's like the definition that's commonly known with it, that automatically huge. Like you could literally go in a caloric surplus and not get huge. Like you gain a little bit of fat, but your weight may not even move if you start just adding calories in.
I guess
people think it's easy, and it's doing it consistently too. Sorry, Laura, to cut you off, but that's the other thing too. It's doing it consistently over time. You can't bulk for one day. I'm going to bulk for the week and then diet on the weekend, which, Laura, you've probably been guilty of that.
Yeah, definitely in the last few weeks I've been, because, and first, like, not looking forward to a meet or anything like that, knowing, but I do still step on the scale every morning. But I guess that leads into the question, like, when to actually bulk, when to know to bulk, or how long you should be bulking.
Yeah. So the biggest thing you want to do with deciding when you're going to bulk is you have to assess your goals. So if your goal is to improve your body composition or get stronger, bulking is definitely going to play a role in there at some point in time. Now, if it's the right time to do it now, that's going to depend on a few things. If you're low body fat now and you don't have any goals to compete in a physique competition anytime soon, or you just finished doing one, or you don't have a meet that you have to make weight for or anything, that's generally a good time to do your bulk, provided that you're not already carrying excess body fat. So somebody like in Laura's position, it's the perfect time to go on a bulk because she just finished her meet. She's still lean. Her calories are still lower than they should be. And she wants to make improvements for her next meet. She wants to get stronger. She probably wants to put some muscle on. She wants to improve her body composition as well. So bulking is going to really be the key in that. So now that she has that time where she doesn't have to make weight, it would be ideal. So for anybody deciding when they have to bulk, just assess your goals to begin with. And if you're already lean, start bulking right now. If you have a little bit of body fat that you're still trying to lose, finish losing that first, then go into your bulk, and if you do it properly, you'll set yourself up for the long term where you can maintain your body composition on higher calories.
So then, Pete, why is bulking necessary for muscle gain?
Well, bulking in general, it's not necessary for muscle gain, but to make significant improvements in muscle gain, at least especially past your initial gains in muscle when you first start training, more muscle requires calories. The more muscle you have on your body, the higher your metabolic rate. So to put extra tissue on your body, it requires you to eat more. The reason that Anthony could eat 600 grams of carbs and not get fat, but if Laura were to eat 600 grams and definitely put on a significant amount of body fat, is because he has a lot more muscle on his frame. He's also a guy, but the muscle's really the differentiating factor in there. So if you want to put more muscle on, you're going to have to eat more calories. And if you just want to improve overall your performance, it's going to require more calories in the gym. The gym's going to require more calories. So definitely, you just have to.
So does that sound like a good enough reason for you to start bulking, Laura?
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, now would be the perfect time to do it, because if I do, say, plan for a meet in September and October, now would be the time to do that because I will put on that muscle gain and be able to be stronger. Correct?
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess the thing is too, having a good coach and having someone monitor you while you bulk is always a good thing because it'll prevent you from getting fat. Sometimes, especially too, we chase numbers on scales. I mean, especially I'm talking, I guess, for guys in general. Women don't chase the number on the scale; they chase it the other way.
Yeah.
But for a guy, I want to bulk to 220, and then I'm going to cut to 190, and I'm going to be ripped and huge at 190. I mean, this is how I thought so many times. And when you chase that number on the scale, you just keep adding calories, you just keep getting fatter and fatter, and it does nothing. The heaviest I've ever been was 218, 217, I think it was.
How'd you feel?
Horrible.
Yeah.
That's almost 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. But horrible. I felt horrible at that weight. I was definitely too fat at that weight. And I was chasing the scale number.
Wait, so was that bulking?
Yeah, that's what I did. I bulked up to 2. I tried to see as
my God.
heavy as I can get. It was not fun. That was when I was having like almost 6,000 calories a day. That was not fun. I don't know if it was I living home when I did that? Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was.
Your body fat went up like a lot. That's scary.
Yeah, it did. I don't know what it was percentage-wise, but it definitely went up a lot.
Think about that,
See, that's
too.
scary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that's incorrectly. He got a little too aggressive with that. Because if you think about it,
was like the point of diminishing returns after I passed like 210.
Right. See, that's the thing.
And then I was just trying to force it down just to see the number on the scale.
And if you think about it, if he was 20 pounds heavier, that was how many years ago? A long time ago now, right? So if you were 20 pounds heavier years ago, arguably you didn't have more muscle on your frame. So you're looking at 20 additional pounds of body fat from where you have now.
Yeah.
So when he was bulking, he was putting on way more body fat than he was muscle at that rate. I'm sure he put muscle on during that time frame, but that's an example of taking the bulk too far and getting too excessive with it, that you are quote unquote bulking or achieving what people think bulking actually means. So that's not what you're trying to do. If you do that, you're definitely taking it a step too far.
Yeah, I actually did gain a lot of muscle doing that. I gained a lot of it, like I said, up until I hit about 210, 212, and that was it. Then it seems like from 212 to 217, those just 5 pounds were just strictly fat. It was crazy how that happens, but that's the point of diminishing returns, like we said. So again, I don't want to scare women into thinking this, like, oh my God, I'm never bulking. What are they talking about? But it's important to do that because, again, you add muscle to your frame. And again, bringing this all around back to my point was why it's good to have a coach, because it prevents you from doing that. It prevents you from chasing a number. So now in Laura's sense, Pete put in her head that she could hit 200 grams of carbs. She may not be able to. We don't know. We won't know until we experiment and get her there. Maybe she can get to 180. At that point of 180, maybe it's diminishing returns again from that point. So it really depends. Don't chase numbers. And this is why it's good to have a second eye to watch you. Because if you chase numbers, that's when you end up getting fat, especially when putting on muscle.
How do you know when to end that bulking cycle?
That's a
I
good
think
question.
You feel it.
When you had enough is enough?
Yeah. You know what it is, though? It's a point where... Because you have to be in a bulk for an extended period of time in order to gain muscle. So you can't be in a bulk for 3 weeks. And then I feel too fat, I'm going to diet. So I would say a good 3 to 6 months, right? Maybe even longer.
It's going to depend for everybody. I would say that's a rough range to start with.
Keeping it lean.
Yeah, you want to keep it lean.
I'm just going to say that I've heard of a lean bulk.
Yeah, people use the term lean. They either use the term lean bulk, clean bulk, dirty bulk. When they're all accomplishing the same thing.
Let's actually define that then. Let's define that then. So, what's a lean bulk, Pete?
So a lean bulk, the idea behind a lean bulk is, okay, I want to add muscle mass, but I'm going to keep it quote unquote lean, meaning that I'm gonna increase the calories, but I'm gonna keep fat gain down. When in reality, that's really what you should be striving for anyway. There shouldn't be a term for it. That shouldn't be the right or wrong way. That should just be what you're going after with bulking. So that is the ideal situation.
And bro scientists will say when they lean bulk, they're just trying to basically eat quote unquote clean foods, which, as we debunked several times on this network, there's no such thing as clean foods, but generally they'll think like clean eating will give them lean gains, and that's not true because you can get fat from eating chicken and spinach. So then what's a dirty bulk, Pete?
So then a dirty bulk is, and mostly you'll see guys do this, or in your case, which you were definitely quote-unquote dirty bulking, They just say, okay,
No, I wasn't. I was just increasing the calories.
Yeah, but
I wasn't trying to do dirty bulk.
Yeah, but you got to the point where you definitely ran out of clean. Yeah, so you definitely ran out of clean foods to meet those calorie requirements, because once you go upwards of 6,000 calories, there's just no way you could fit only quote unquote clean foods in your body. It's just too much food, so you're gonna have to go with some of the junk foods that are more calorie dense. But a dirty bulk is when you kind of just throw that whole clean bulk or lean bulk approach out the window, and you say, okay, I'm going to bulk up eating whatever I want. I'm going to have junk food all day and just get my calories as high as possible. Put on a ton of weight, whether it's good weight or bad weight. And, that approach can definitely lead to more negative results than positive. It depends on how you go about it. It depends on your metabolism. Some people can get away with it and still get quote-unquote lean gains. But that's usually the genetic elite, and women are definitely not in that category, at least most of them. But, yeah, if you do bulking correctly, there should be no place for lean bulking, clean bulking, or whatever you call it. It should just be bulking.
Yeah, dirty bulk also, what's associated with that is just, all right, I'm bulking now. I'm just going to kind of eat whatever. Yeah. YOLO eating. So
like not
dirty
tracking.
Bulk,
right.
Yeah, that's basically what a dirty bulk is.
Yeah.
According to the bros.
So basically bulking is necessary for muscle gain for women. And why do we say it was necessary? Just for just getting stronger, right?
Well, you're going to get stronger,
gaining muscle.
But yeah, muscle. So muscle itself, additional muscle is going to require additional calories. So right now, if you're maintaining on 1,300 calories, if we, let's say, put 5 pounds of muscle on your frame, your maintenance calories are not going to be 1,300 anymore. To maintain that extra muscle, it's going to take up more calories just to maintain it. So you have to eat an additional amount of calories to put on additional muscle. So you're not going to put 10 pounds of muscle on your frame eating the same amount of calories you're eating now. So you do need to go through a phase of additional calories to build that muscle. Then you need to eat more just to maintain it. So it's a good thing if you put that muscle on, because then you're going to be able to eat more food and stay lean also. So it serves two purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So basically, when you go through a bulk, you actually increase your metabolic rate. You increase your body's ability to burn more calories, because you're going to be feeding your metabolism again. Again, like we talked about so many times, when you diet, your metabolism actually slows down, contrary to what many people will say that, oh, when I'm dieting, I'm burning fat so easily. That's not necessarily the case. So it'll actually increase that metabolism up, and you'll be able to burn more calories too. And enjoy, and it's a good break too. I mean, some of the things we didn't really cover too. It's just a good break from dieting so long. I mean, Laura's having 1,300 calories every day. Can you imagine what kind of a break it would be just for her to have 1,500?
Yeah, definitely. But then through bulking, isn't it easier for the cut afterwards? It makes it easier.
Yeah, because your metabolic rate is higher. Yeah, because then also when you cut down, you're not going to be cutting on 1,100 like you were last time. You're going to be cutting on now probably 13.
Yeah.
So that's a big plus in itself.
Yeah. So you said it might take 3 to 6 months, but it's good for the long term.
Yeah. You're talking to me or Pete?
No, yeah, both of you.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you take 3 to 6 months to get your calories up, let's say they're at what'd you say they're at right now? 1,300. Let's say you take 3 to 6 months, you get up to 1,800 or 2,000, and you're maintaining on relatively the same weight. Now your metabolic rate's going to be higher. You're going to eat more calories, and then if you were to diet down, you can probably lose weight on 1,300 or 1,400, whereas right now you're maintaining on 1,300.
Right.
So that's always the goal. You always want to progressively, over time, be able to lose weight on more calories.
Now, I guess women would be afraid of trying to gain fat. So how do you prevent fat gain while bulking?
I would say one of the major things with that is just taking your time, not rushing a bulk, and just slowly adding the calories back in, and get comfortable with the calorie jumps. In other words, so let's just say we'll use Laura as an example. She's having 1,300 calories a day. Let's say we increase calories, 40 calories a week. So now she's at 1,340, and then she bumps up again 1,380. Taking time to adjust that. Don't rush into, I have to keep upping it every week. Slowly, take time. The main thing is you want to increase the calories and let your body level out. You don't want to be gaining weight every week. So increase the calories, level it out. Increase the calories, level it out. And wait there. Don't be afraid to be at 1 calorie goal, for a week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks. There's no reason to change it if you're not gaining fat, but the weight's increasing, keep the calories the same. You're gonna constantly have to be monitoring yourself while doing it in order to not get fat. Because when I did my bulk last time, I was just like, all right, add 100 calories this week, add 100 calories this week, add 100 calories this week.
And you had fat gain?
Yeah, eventually. It all catches up to you. It doesn't happen necessarily right away, but then it all catches up to you. Because you're in such a surplus for a long period of time, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, the key is you want to allow your body to adjust to those macro increases. So like you said, you have to go slow enough where your metabolism is going to speed up. Whenever you add more calories into your diet, regardless if you're gaining fat or not, if you add more calories in, your metabolic rate is going to compensate by speeding up because now you're eating more food. If you're eating more food than your metabolic rate is speeding up, you're going to gain fat. But if you adjust it at the proper rate, you're not going to gain fat. Your metabolism is going to speed up at the same rate that you're adding in calories. So that's really the goal, is to add in calories at the same rate that your metabolic rate can handle. So any more than that, you're going to gain fat. Any less than that, you're kind of defeating the purpose. So if you do add in those calories as your metabolism speeds up, you're not going to see that fat gain. So you want to do it at the same rate, get your metabolic rate up, keep the fat gain low.
Yeah.
I guess another thing that scares women when they see the word bulking is what happens to cardio.
Well, it's the same thing with metabolism cardio. You never want to be doing cardio for an extended period of time because, again, your body's just going to get used to it. And then what happens when you start dieting, again, you have to look at it in long-term perspective too. If you're doing, let's just say, an hour 3 times a week, whatever, that's what you're doing now. If you're doing that all the way through and then you come time to diet again, that's going to have to be your minimum amount of cardio that has to be done. So you have to taper down the cardio as well, and then taper that down, I would say, to 0. Spend some time in a caloric surplus, not doing any cardio, and then when it comes time to start dieting, then add in the cardio only when you have to. In the beginning of a diet, your diet should be the one that tells your body to start losing body fat. So you should be able to lose body fat. So me, for example, I've been dieting now for 3 weeks. I've lost like 1.5%, almost 2% body fat. And I haven't done 1 ounce of cardio. It's just strictly from the diet. Now, as the weeks go on, will I be lucky enough to keep doing that? I hope so. But if not, I would have to add in cardio at some point. But again, if I would have started with an hour 3 times a week, I would have no choice but that would be my minimum amount of cardio to be done.
Yeah, the cardio should always be used as a tool. And, like Anthony said, when you're bulking, you want to try and bring that down to 0 so that when you do need to use it, it's going to be more effective. Because if you're quote-unquote abusing it, then it's not going to do anything for you in return, especially when you need it to work. So you always want to wean off of it and do as little as possible so that when you do need it, it's going to be more effective.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I definitely would say when it comes to any type of diet or bulking that a coach definitely helps you stay on track also.
Yeah, like I said, it's just going to be another set of eyes to watch the picture. And like I said, even with business, if we could hire a business coach that would help us, I would definitely hire the business coach because it would definitely cut down that learning curve and make it a lot easier for us as far as business goes. But it's the same thing for a coach. You're paying for someone's knowledge and to cut down that learning curve. Because you don't want to end up making all the mistakes and wasting time. That's one of the things I hate the most is wasting time.
Yeah, and then, another thing too is it's that's all the benefits are definitely there, but also just having someone take the pressure off it for you, where all you have to do is just kind of execute. Because it's one thing when you have to cut calories, cut carbs, you can do that, but then to deal with the stress of making decisions and figuring out what's the right approach to take, what's the next step, putting that pressure on somebody else and then just listening to them is so much easier just to get the job done. And we're all coaches here. We all help other people, but the same thing, we utilize that ourselves. Anthony will tell me, okay, listen, just take care of my diet. I'll tell him, okay, just take care of my training right now, my programming. I just want to execute right now. And it's always easier to have somebody to kind of just fall back on and say, okay, listen, what do I do right now? Even if you know what the decision is, it could be hard sometimes, especially when dieting or when bulking and you're seeing changes and you're not really sure what the next approach to take is. And someone just tells you to do it and you just got to listen.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep. All right, ladies, that is all we have for you today, and I hope you enjoy this episode on bulking done right. And of course, it's important to always stay on track and never give up. This is Laura, Anthony, Pete with the Bikini and Barbell Show, and always remember, strength and beauty can exist in the same body with training like a man.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.